This is the Tallahassee Business Podcast, bringing you engaging conversations with influential members of the community that you need to know. This episode is brought to you by The Health Network. The Health Network is an innovative advertising platform with more than 30 digital monitors and almost a dozen different medical waiting rooms throughout Tallahassee. With a diverse mix of medical practices, The Health Network provides advertisers unmatched visibility to a highly engaged audience while directly connecting with target consumers through static and video ads. To learn how your business can effectively reach over 60,000 patients and guests per month, visit thnadvertising.com.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Sue Dick with the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce. Excited for today's podcast. Have Dustin Rivest here, who wears many hats with his agency in software development and technology. And we're going to touch on a couple new announcements. But Dustin, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. How are you today?
Great. Doing wonderful. It's been a busy time. We were talking about where we are as a community and a lot of transitioning that's been occurring. I know we've all been at a lot of events, a lot of community events, and it's nice to see the community coming out.
Absolutely.
And attending. I think it's important. I think people have really fought through the last 2.5 years, and I know as a Chamber of Commerce, we're working towards that as well with all the programming that we're doing. So let's maybe jump in. I know we've talked before to our listeners that the Chamber really is focusing on 3 key areas: economic growth, creating talent, and then making sure our entire community is being pulled forward. You've recently launched in I want to call it technology, but also healthcare, and we're going to talk about that too, because that's important for us to focus and really understand how our community is moving forward, and most importantly, why it's so important. And as you said off the air, why it's important to be able to pivot. So maybe tell us a little bit about 223 Agency, and then we'll talk more directly about the healthcare network.
Absolutely. So the 223 Agency, which is formerly known as App Innovators, has been doing marketing and advertising and software development for 10 years right here in Tallahassee. And over those 10 years, we've been able to advertise on just about every single medium, from radio, TV, billboards, print, magazines, buses, benches on the sidewalks and stuff like that. And so we're very familiar with all the different marketing, mediums out there. And one day we were sitting with the former CEO of TOC at the new Canopy Clinic, and they have a bunch of monitors up on their screen, and we're looking at the new construction. And I said, "What are you going to do with all these monitors? What are you going to put there?" He's like, "I don't know. What do you want to put there?" I said, "Well, why don't we put like doctor profiles up so people can be more familiar with the doctors or the nurses or the PAs before they even see them, if they've never seen them before. Maybe that can help, lower the anxiety level to some extent. Most people don't want to go to the doctor ever. And so naturally and organically, their anxiety levels are a little bit high." And then we took that a step further and said, well, let's put some health tips, whether it's stress, anxiety, eating healthy, the weather, some basic news and sports scores maybe. And then let's sprinkle in some advertisement, tasteful advertisements. And we decided to do a revenue split with them and said, hey, we're going to go find the advertisers, put it up on the monitors, and bring the money in, then we'll give you a cut of it. He said, why not? Let's go. And so that was kind of the start of the Health Network, which is what we call THN Advertising now, for short. And then we started to approach some of our other clients in the medical space. And they're like, yeah, let's turn Judge Judy and Dr. Phil off. That's what's playing in our lobbies right now. Nobody's watching it anyway. We'll turn off DirecTV and Comcast and give it a go. And one after the other, it became more and more successful. And we knew that we were onto something. And so that's when we started to really, see this as an effective way to market, businesses and, ultimately keep patients' anxiety down while they're sitting there waiting in the waiting room.
Well, it's interesting you said that. I was recently at TOC, and I actually noticed the screens. And also what I also noticed is, a lot of us, as we said earlier, this whole post-COVID world, people are finally feeling more comfortable in coming out. Maybe half of the waiting room had masks on, which is obviously voluntary right now, but it was interesting. And we see it every day as a chamber in a lot of our programming, a lot of the feedback we're getting from our businesses is people are wanting to get back to moving forward. And also we're just noticing the playing field a little bit different. And I'm curious, the feedback from the medical community, or where do you see this going in the next couple of years?
We saw a little bit slower growth because of COVID. Some people had limited capacity in their waiting rooms and every other chair, people waiting in their cars. Now that is really, really slackened up a lot. We have medical facilities that we're installing these, monitors pretty much every week and growing the network. So right now there's about 60,000 patients that see our monitors every day. And so, we feel like, yes, there's a money component to it, but we're also educating them on some things too and helping them reduce their anxiety and stress levels.
Well, I know that you recently attended the Launch Tallahassee.
Big event. Very good. Eddie did a fantastic job. I know he had a lot of help, but Eddie spearheaded a great event.
He did, and a shout out to Eddie, who chairs our talent strategic priority area. And I think there's so much overlap that we're seeing, whether you're talking about trying to bring in new business or grow the existing business, and then the talent that's needed. But then we're trying to focus on key sectors that are just growing. And so as a somewhat of a technology company, I know you're in marketing communications, but it's interesting to see in your perspective on what we're seeing on the playing field within the technology space.
Yeah, it's exploding in the technology space. Every business, as Eddie says, is a technology business. There's a technology component to every single person's business today. And you need some sort of tech support, whether that's from another, business entity as a vendor of yours or, an employee, right? And so it's growing in the training that we have here in Tallahassee in the multiple areas is phenomenal. We just got to get people aware of it. Mm-hmm. That's the big thing, is making people aware of the resources that we have when it comes to not only just technology, but other businesses as well. And there's a lot of people who want to work in the tech sector. They want to work in the tech space. They just didn't know what's available. Now, hopefully they do, with Launch Tally and all the efforts we've been putting in there.
Well, and I think for the listeners that want more information, going to the Launch Tally website or going to the Chamber website and, ask to get a copy of our e-news. We are constantly, every Wednesday, pushing out information on key programming and talent or our key sectors. We push out this podcast. Thank you for sponsoring our podcast.
Absolutely.
And I think that the key here for us is to make sure we're connecting to the community and informing. And also, we don't want to just talk about what we're doing. More importantly, we want to talk about what the community is doing and hearing from our local businesses. As you project moving forward, where do you see your industry? Where do you see the future and a lot of the technology and or just the new trends coming down the road?
I think the technology sector is in a very unique position because every single industry is pivoting and transforming. And the commonality between the transferring and the pivoting and the transformation is technology around that, right? So a lot of our clients are coming to us asking for help in that pivot. What does it mean, whether it's with proposal software or forecasting software? Dan Foss is a great example. You guys introduced us to them a long time ago, and they could choose to develop software anywhere in the world, and they choose to do it right here with us, and we built that relationship on the back of the Chamber's recommendation. But they are always trying to stay ahead in their industry and be on that bleeding edge, and that's what's happening across the world. We have a company literally out of Indianapolis that we're building a piece of software for that monitors the temperature and humidity in the back of a cop car that has canines in it, right? Yeah. Almost like a Honeywell thermostat for the back of a canine vehicle car.
Very important.
Right? And so it's things like that business is pivoting. They want more information. They want more data. They want to be able to do predictive analysis on failure points and things. So that's the commonality between all business transformation right now, no matter the industry, is technology is driving that pivot and that transfer point.
Well, Dustin, thanks for your partnership and for allowing us to put our podcasts out.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to pivot to, or at least maybe if people want more information on the Health Network?
If you want more information on the Health Network, it's thnadvertising.com, and our 223agency.com is where our main umbrella company is.
Dustin, thanks so much.
Absolutely.